How's it going, everybody? We're about to get started. Welcome back. Welcome to the second show of the day of either 3 or 4. I don't know how many for sure that we're going to be doing. Okay, so we got, we're live on Facebook. Let me just go into Facebook and put up the Zoom link in case anybody's having any problems. You can always go to the Zoom room. Boom. There we are. And I'm going to pull up Julia Yesner Weiss in just 1 second. Put that up here. Welcome, everybody. Denise Chadwick, Kathy Wildowski, Hillary Denton, Zana Kozar, and everyone else. If these shows resonate with you, please share. I'm going to share to the Soulogy network right now. If you haven't been to the Soulogy group, you know, we're not one to push membership or anything, but there's about 300 posts a day in there. A lot of good energy, a lot of good people. I'm sharing there. We also have a SoulogyOneStudios Facebook page, which if you get a chance, go by there and like it. We've got some different stuff in there as well. Okay. Thank you all for your continued love and support and contributions. Looking forward to Richie Sauter on the 30th. That ought to be a riot. Okay, so let's bring up Julia and get the show started. Hello, Michelle Bruce. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay, Julia. Hi. Oh, there you are. Okay, I hear you talking.
Oh, I gotta share. Oh, I gotta click on to video.
There you go. All right. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible here, but you know, some of us.
I was so nervous.
You were.
I was so nervous this wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it's working fine. It's a pleasure to meet you. I don't normally do this because I'm not, you know, typical, but I've got to, and I guess, you know, anyway, I want to read your. I want to read some of your bio. Okay, so let me just double check, make sure we're okay on Facebook. Yeah, we got 27 in the house. If you guys could share to one page, or your page, or a group page, so we can stay above these algorithms at Facebook, we'd really appreciate it. Let me read a little bit about Julia. Okay, she has a BA from Temple University. She's from Philly, one of my favorite cities. She's currently retired. On the side, she's been a state section director for MUFON. She investigated UFO reports, trained field investigators for several years. She began co-hosting a radio show, Starborn Support, with another MUFON state section director. It sounds a lot like Soulogy. It was a radio show that was a safe place for people that have had alien abduction experiences or any alien contact to call in and talk and get the support they needed from other experiencers. And it goes on to talk about a little bit more. I'll attach it to the live. It's also in the post announcement. But she says during a 5-year period, she had a deep spiritual awakening. She began to meditate and get downloaded with knowledge of the Ascension process. Hang on. We got. She was asked by her co-host to do a half-hour segment on the radio show teaching people about this process. She has joined the Creation Temple. Is the Creation Temple Susie Byler?
Yes, it is.
Okay. She has joined this Creation Temple, creating heaven on earth, where she learned to transmute her negative emotions and experiences. She's been doing shadow work for 3 years and has changed her life. Transmuted with shadow work her marriage, finances, family relationships, and she's gone to Sedona on a spiritual retreat with Creation Temple. Been to City Ranch. She's been to Mount Adams. So she's, and she also says her, this is good. She also has had some galactic visitations. So this is something we have in common. We can talk about that. And then she says her psychic ability has grown at a rapid rate the past 2 years. And as I say many times on the show, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. Hello, Susie Byler. What's happening? How are you doing? Good to see you. A lot of new faces in here. Let me get back on the main screen so I can see your beautiful face, our beloved sister. So that's quite a life experience there. of course, you know, it looks like a lot of that's happened in recent years. You know, you talk about the shadow work for the last 3 years and what's going on the last 2 years. You know, so much of this stuff has been compartmentalized into, you know, the post 2012 period. I don't know where to start with you. I think one of the things I'd like to talk about is the star family and ET family. I think there's a lot of good information out there. There's a lot of information out there. Obviously, some of it is psyops and propaganda. Some of it could be psyops and propaganda from a higher level through people. You know, to thine own self be true. We got to discern for ourselves and all that stuff. But what is, you know, coming from somebody who has had, you know, some visitation, you know, with Morgan, we've had some, and then I've even had some alone, I guess, as well. What were your visitations like?
Different. I have seen a lot of light chips because I do sky watches, and I was part of the Starborn Experiencers Speak group. So in the conferences, we would be out by a lake house and we would see ships come and they flash a light. The big experiences, I was at Isetti Ranch, and they have sky watches, and it's usually the ships coming by and they shine the laser and flash. The ships flash back, and it's pretty exciting. This time when I went, it was during a light language conference where I got activated, and I can also do healing with light language. So when there was a big crowd, they were very noisy. There wasn't much going on and it was very cold, so they left. And then there was just me and on one side of the field, and on the other side of the field, there were 3 guys. So all the rest of maybe there was like 50 people, they're gone. And it was very, very cold. And so I meditated, I went in and I said, I'd really like to see you tonight. It was raining the other 3 nights, and now is my last chance to see you. And we are all unity. We are all love. We are all family. And I want peace on earth, and I want ascension, and we can do it together. And then the ship came from the mountain, and I couldn't see an actual outline of the ship. What I saw was the same thing I kind of saw in Maine, but a big flash, but it was consistent. It was like a milky, it was the brightest white light I have ever seen. It had a milky consistency, and it was self-contained, meaning it wasn't illuminating anything outside of it. And it kept coming from the mountain, and it came, we're about 13 miles away from Mount Adams in Isetti, and then there's this big, huge field. So it came closer and closer and closer, where it was so huge, it was probably like 2 semis, and it's kind of rectangular and huge. And I didn't see anything metallic. I just saw this white light.
Yeah.
And then I got a telepathic message, which I've never really gotten before. I got this clear impression. We know it's very cold. We wanted to do this for you tonight. We're not doing anything else tonight, so we want you to go inside.
Yeah.
But before that happened, they got really, really close to me. And I was really surprised because I didn't think I would get scared. I got scared because I didn't know what would happen. I didn't think they'd hurt me, but I just didn't know what happened. And they sensed that and they stopped.
Yeah.
And then they gave me the message and then they pulled back. So the next morning, of course, I was like beside myself. So the next morning, my friend, who was leading the light language, he said to me, I told him the experience, and he said, they came just for you. Notice how there was no one else there. There was just a few people, and it was my side of the field that they came down. So that was my first big experience. I've been told, and I've had dreams where when I was in Sedona during the retreat, I had this lucid dream where I was like in a ship, and I was sitting down, and there was a glass, and then on the other side of the glass, believe it or not, there was a bean. The bean was looked like, if you ever watched Star Trek, the beautiful, wonderful communication officer Uhura.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. And behind me was all these different, most of them were tall, most of them were blonde, but there were different beings behind me wearing robes, white. And I was trying to communicate with, it was a new being. And I knew the beam was probably too intense for me to look at. So they screenshot it to something I would be able to see. And I was trying to communicate with it. And for some reason, I guess it wasn't able to hear the telepathy. So I was trying to translate the language. And that's kind of what I do in the ethers, in the, the time that I'm asleep. And I was having a hard time. So they were saying, don't worry, you'll do it next time. It takes a few tries. So I told Susie, she'll laugh. I told Susie, I said, I had this dream, and it kind of felt real. It didn't just feel like a dream. I mean, I was thinking, and she said that wasn't a dream. That was definitely real. And Prime Creator has told me that I'm like an ambassador with communication on that level. And it's funny because I had the radio show on this level, and I always felt I wanted to teach. And so there were two other actual beings that came. And then there was one really interesting thing. And I'll just go real quick on that because I want to get to the shadow work and being an empath, which is really my focus. But I was in Atlantic City, believe it or not, at the Borgata Hotel. And that's a real fancy hotel, in case any of you, and I asked in my meditation, I wanted to connect with my galactic family. So be careful what you ask for, you're going to kind of get it.
Especially now.
Yeah, so this was like 2 years ago. And it was funny because, in our heads, I'm seeing, I think tall, blonde, blue-eyed, that's what I'm going to see, and that's what I'm comfortable with. This being came to me as a Black woman, a beautiful Black woman, very tall. And she was Palladium, but, you don't think, I didn't get it at the time. I got it kind of later. So we were in the swimming pool. And this woman I was sitting right next to her, and she was doing selfies. And I said, I wonder if she's a model, because she's really thin and she's got this terrific outfit on. And it was really, really funny. I just thought it was kind of comical because what they do sometimes is they overact to get your attention. And sometimes they wear too much makeup or, whatever to get your attention. So, me, dumb. I wasn't, I'm just like, boy, this girl really likes herself. She's taking pictures. So then I see her the next day in the pool. And I notice she has this black bikini on, and it has rhinestones. And she's wearing something like a sheer thing over the bikini that kind of covers. And I'm very attracted to sparkles. I'm a very fancy girl. I'm a girly girl. I love sparkles and fancy rhinestones. And so she had rhinestones on the bra part, and I'm looking at, and we're walking back and forth and in the pool, and I'm noticing her waist. And I'm like, where is her organs? Her waist is so incredibly thin. And I'm like, geez, so I opened up conversation. I said, I really love your bathing suit. It's really gorgeous. And I looked into her eyes, and they were like, she was a Black woman, but the eyes were like a dark grayish brown. And you could see the universe in her eyes. You could see stars. I didn't see a pupil. And I said, I'd really like to wear that bathing suit, but, I want to lose 30 pounds. And she says to me, the time is now. The time is now. Don't wait. When the winter is coming, and then you won't be able to wear what you want to wear. excuse me. So that was very interesting. And then during a session with Prime Creator, as I was driving back to Philadelphia, I saw a poster and it was Gladys Knight.
Mm.
This was the face of a young Gladys Knight on this woman.
Oh, wow.
So it was interesting. And the
validation.
Yeah. So the next one, I was I was having a cigarette outside. I don't smoke a lot. I'm working on it. But I know you smoke, but I go out.
How does everybody know I smoke?
I see you. So I was outside having a smoke, and my neighbor across the way to the left, on the other side, was doing some construction. So there was nothing going on, the smoking, and all of a sudden I see this man come dressed like a construction worker. And he goes and he picks up this wood thing that had fallen on the other neighbor's yard and threw it off. Then he comes back, and there's a hill separating my neighbor and me, and he's like stumbling over the hill, and I'm looking at him, and he didn't need to go to the hill. He could have just walked straight. Mm-hmm. So he walked up, and he kept staring at me, and he said, "It's never too late to do." He said, "Good morning," and I thought that was odd since it was 6 o'clock at night. Mm. And he had brown eyes, brown hair, and he was a little, chunky set. But he was like glaring at me with glaring, and flirty. And I was feeling kind of down, I'm getting older. I'm 58, same age as you, me, my husband and I was just going through that, So he was kind of flirting with me. And then he says, "It's never too late to do construction." But when I corrected him about, good morning, he went like this. Like, did I do something wrong? Like it was very weird. And then I got another confirmation from Prime Creator that he was, so there were two, they were both Palladians.
Yeah.
Just say I'm there. I saw one time I was lying down and I was getting a suntan, and I saw this white capsule-like pill, like shit, very, no sound, go really slow and then disappear in the sun. And then I later found out that a lot of people saw that in different parts of the world. And I found out that was Ashtar's command, letting certain people know that we're here, don't worry. So the very last thing was pretty brilliant. I have these hawk friends that I go out and I do light language, and I sing light language to them, and they zoom in, they circle me. I feel warm, protected, connected to spirit. So one Sunday afternoon, I had to take my car in to the shop to get fixed up. So, oil change and all that. And so it was really funny. I had taken it in, and I have driving issues. One of my problems is I feel like I'm in the car and there's another dimension. I feel like I'm leaving my body, or I get a headache. I get lightheaded, and I haven't driven in like a year, and I'm working on that. They said it's my Blue Dragons said it's because they're my guides, two of them, because my DNA is changing. And so anyway, I managed to drive myself, which took a lot of courage, and I wasn't dizzy at all, to the place. And then they drove me back. And when I got home, they said, your battery went dead. And I said, really? It was interesting. It was an energy drain. So I went outside to have my cigarette, finish that. And I noticed my hawks, and they're usually like right in front of me. They moved to the left, and then I saw it looked like a red balloon. And I'm like, that's really odd. Is it a balloon? So then I'm like, well, if you're not a balloon, move 20 feet to the right. And it did.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, we're getting excited here. And then the hawks started circling the balloon or whatever it was. Then the balloon started to morph. There was gold. It looked plasma.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it was a red balloon, so I could see the red outline, and then in the middle was this white light, and it was like a strobe.
Hmm.
And then it moved with the hawks all the way to where it was directly in front of me, and maybe 20 feet above. And this was, you know, my family and friends are going to think I'm totally, you know.
You've been in MUFON for years. I don't think they're going to think you're totally crazy.
Well, I have a lot of people. This is my coming out show because not everybody knows.
Is it really?
Yeah, well, not everybody knows this stuff about me. And, you know, this is on my Facebook. So my family and friends that don't know about this are going to know about this because I've been in isolation mode for 3 years going through all this stuff. So anyway, I saw so the circle became, there were white wings like the hawks. Now the hawks are brownish black. These wings were pure white. And in the center was the red ball. And then the strobe light in the middle flashing. And this thing, it kind of looked like that, you know, we have the heart and the wings, that symbol. So that was flying around with the hawks. And this was going on for 5 minutes. And I'm really at the point where it doesn't totally amaze me anymore. I'm like, okay, what is the download? I received the download. And it wasn't until, what's great about meeting with the Creation Temple, which we have phone calls every week. We have a membership. I'm able to hear, you know, Prime Creator a lot. And he's telling me, because you opened your heart, contact is when you open your heart. And you also have to say, I want contact of Christ consciousness. So supposedly that, he also said they were the Arcturians coming in because I have Palladian and I have Syrian contact. But I know Andromedans. It was the Andromedans that came in. They wanted to bring whatever codes are coming in. So that's part of the experience. But as you know, it's our inner work. We're our own saviors. So nothing out there, they can help and assist. And it's fun to have contact, but the inner work and the connection to source is, and all you have to be is love. We make it so complicated, but just meditate, just get quiet 5 minutes, connect with source. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, right on. Let's talk about, you were with MUFON for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I mean, there's plenty of shows out there. I mean, and the experiences that you have, I mean, these are relevant in that story, in the stories that you're telling. There's full of code, you know. It's just the truth. It's what happened with you. There's a lot of shows out there that I think get lost in the sensationalism of it. And again, there's so much stuff out there that you don't know what to believe half the time. And I think these personal experiences are really where it's at. Now, in terms of your experience, the experiences that you just outlined, and also those you've come into contact with in your work with MUFON, what is your overall perspective on why are they there? Who are they? What do they have to do with Ascension and our growth?
Well, I'm no longer with MUFON, but there's a whole bunch of reasons. You know, there's all different agendas. There's different races, but basically a lot. And there's the whole abduction phenomenon, which starts out as a genetic program, but they do talk about the ascension. They do many cases. They show people videos of what one timeline would be like, which would be maybe, you know, nuclear war, and one where we're ascended. So that they're planting the seeds, and they may also be changing our DNA in some sort of physical way. There are hybrids. Supposedly I have hybrid children.
I would imagine
Um,
we're all hybrids at this point.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but in relation to and the reason I'm asking that is you know, there seems to be a growing school of thought that not just, you know, depending on what narrative you're listening to, not just the reptilians have been moved out, you know, not just the archons have been moved out, but quarantine lifted. But the school of thought being that we're on our own now, that there is not going to be any interference, that they can watch over, they can assist if asked, no different than angels,
Right.
that type of thing. But that we're on our own now, we're creating our own way. Does that resonate with you? Does that line up with anything that you've heard or picked up from the people that you've associated with through MUFON or even your other life experiences?
Well, MUFON is more the nuts and bolts. I tried to get them. I actually had drinks with the head of MUFON, and I was trying to get him to get more experiencers in for spiritual, you know, the spiritual contact that's been happening, and they didn't want to go that way. So you know, I just left. So yes, they're there to assist and do the things that we can't do, but they waited for us to ask for help, or we've already made the decision we want to ascend and get rid of this archon, this false matrix. So they're assisting because we've already shown up that that's what we want to do.
Yeah. No, I was just curious as to where that set with you. And like I said, we don't get a lot of people. I mean, I think there's a lot of different type of visitations or engagements, and it's just interesting to hear, you know, how people come away, or how they come away with what perspective they come away with. Now, you talked a little bit about shadow work, and you said you've been doing this for 3 years. You want to talk a little bit about how you came into that, you know, and
well, the first thing, I'm not sure, you know, timelines change, and I know it was about 2010. I had little experiences of awakening, then I had a big one, which was about a year before 2000, about 2011. I read Eckhart Tolle's book about being in the now and how we have to work on the pain body. So my big issue was, you know, I have some jealousy, I have this, that, and the other thing. So my husband and I practice Buddhism, and it's a Japanese Buddhism where you chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. We've been doing that for a long time. But I decided to do the meditation, and I did my own kind of thing where I started to break through. And it was really wonderful, but I didn't really know about there's an actual ascension happening. I just knew I had to work on myself, and that would change everything around me. So then I had this grand awakening where I was doing my meditation, and it was right when ISIS was kidnapping people, chopping their heads off. And I'm an empath, so anything warlike, I can't handle it. And it makes no sense to me. It's crazy. It's always has since a little child. When I was little, I would see the Vietnam War on the TV, the little girl that was all burned running down the street. I thought, people are insane. They're insane. You know, so I always had that. So anyway, this was like the third kidnapping I heard on the news, and I was very upset. And I went downstairs and I started to do my meditation, and I started to be verbal, and I said, you know, please God, can you let this man go? And then I said, I'm sick and tired of war. And then I felt, as an empath, I felt the pain. Oh, this is tough. I felt the pain of every woman that that has lost their son or their daughter to war. I felt how that would feel for a Gold Star family. And I refused to have it in my world anymore. And I didn't know anything about how I could change that. So I broke down in tears and I demanded that I have heaven on earth right now. And I asked God for a sign. So I went to it was 12 o'clock and I watched the 12 o'clock news. So I was watching the 12 o'clock news. And the first thing they said is this kid got released. Now his name is Bert. I can't pronounce it right. Birdall or whatever. So my awakening was when he was released. There was a lot of controversy with him, but that's not the point. The point is we can change things. Then there was this Syrian, the war started in Syria, and Obama had brought all these ships over, and a lot of us saw World War III happening right away. So we did a group meditation, and I saw this red rose of Mother Mary, red rose to stop, and all the ships were called back. And now we have been in Syria, but we went in a different way. So it's amazing how we can change. So
how I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to go back to the shadow work. These stories, I know they're connected, but how does that relate to shadow work? How do we own the war? I mean, are you saying, and there's no right or wrong answer, I'm just trying to understand the stories. Are you saying that are you saying that it's removed from your universe, or is it being transformed, and how does that correlate to your own inner work?
It's transformed. We can transform any circumstance that is negative into positive for the correct timeline, for the highest good of all. And so leading into the shadow work, it's when I was into UFOs, I would get UFO videos on YouTube. Now that just maybe the same night that this happened, I saw Susie Byler's video on Prime Creator. And also my girlfriend told me about Cryon, the magnetic, Lee Carroll, he talked Cryon. So I would get these downloads every morning when I did my meditation, that there was that I could create heaven on earth, that it's happening.
Yeah.
And the more work I do on myself, I can make it happen faster and connect with others. And then I would hear Cryon say the same thing. So whatever I was getting from Cryon, or I was getting from Prime Creator. So I started, I met two girlfriends at the retreat, and I was reading Magenta Pixie's book. So a lot of I started my shadow work with, where you go down you go down an elevator into a forest, and you get to pick which one, a hut or a tree, and then you ask what shadow do I need to heal now, and something will come up from your past. So I did that with my girlfriend for a year, and then I developed a new easy thing that I'd like to share with everyone, that I bring in Prime Creator's light, which is, I visualize it as white, gold, and pink glitter. And that's unconditional love. And I vision that coming through me all the way to Mother Earth. And then I envision the purple flame, the violet flame around that. And I go, and I verbally say what I want to release. Now, I usually get the day ahead of time before I do this, what I need to work on.
How do you get that?
Just in my mind. And if you don't get anything, it just pops in. I know my life. I know what needs to get
let me ask you another way. What do you do when you get triggered?
When I get triggered,
what do you do with the information presented to you when you get triggered?
Cry.
When somebody pisses you off, when somebody or something triggers you emotionally, mentally, and you're off balance, you're uncomfortable. What do you do at that point?
It's releasing, it's transmuting and releasing. So let's say, I say I want to release what I need to release and integrate what I need to integrate, because we need to integrate the shadow.
I think that what you're saying is very relevant, and I also think that the timing of it's very relevant. I
Mhm.
believe over the last couple of years, as each month goes by, more and more people are embracing the fact that it's an inside job. Okay. Now there's different modalities and processes, and some involve this visualization part of it. You know, the meditation part of it, because it is you versus you and the universe toe to toe. But there's also a human element to it, and this is what I'm getting at, because I believe the human's the hero. We've got this information, we've got these connections, galactic, angelic, divine essence, what you call prime creator, I might call mother goddess, whatever. How does it impact the human being aspect, the divine human being? You know, Julia, when somebody triggers you, you cry. How do you transmute that? How do you transform that?
Well, there's forgiveness. Depending on the situation, if it needs forgiveness, or it could be a judgment. Someone tricking me because of judgment. I'm making a judgment about what that person said, or I'm allowing it to enter my field and hurt me.
Yeah.
So, in other words, I have 3 brothers. One of them's on the Ascension path. 2 of them's born again. So there's tension there with the different belief systems. But I've gotten to the point where I totally forgave and did not judge. I released that judgment of that belief system. So, and now my family, we get together, we have such a good time. I even pray with them. I'm cool with that. And it's, so, that's just one circumstance, not judging people that are different than you, because we're all equal. I'm not better or worse than someone because of what I believe,
right,
or that I'm doing shadow work.
Right.
So
it's the belief systems, regardless of the subject, that create the separation.
There's a lot of light workers that I'll listen to them and I'll go, I don't know about that. And then I have to stop myself and go, I'm judging them. That's their reality, and they're happy with that reality.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the balance of the universe is in your hands through your own individual experience, through the self-awareness of the dialogue in your head and the sensations in your body. It's all on you.
Everybody in this universe, everyone on this planet is incredibly powerful. They have God in them. They can change any circumstance with your intention, with feeling how it would feel to already have that thing in your life, and then just giving it to the universe, like however it works out. And through this, I had a very, my husband's a wonderful guy. He's on the Ascension path now with me. And we're going to see you at Waves of Light in January. And you're going to love him. He's so much fun. So we had a very contentious marriage. He's a wonderful man, but he had his issues. And I was looking to, I'm going to find my twin flame, but it's not him. Or I need to get out of the marriage. It was tough. There were financial issues. There were different things. When I started working on myself and healing the shadow within me and learning to love myself for who I was, that's when he became the biggest benefit of my whole life. He understands, like, I feel all the energies when they come in, and I always check Amanda Lawrence, and I'm like, yeah, I felt that. So because, I haven't been able to drive, he understands the ascension process. He understands that I'm an empath, and he's the biggest benefit. So he's turned out to be my soulmate, my twin, whatever you feel. So that changed. I left my corporate job because I couldn't take it anymore. I was getting dizzy. I was feeling the waves come in, and I had to quit, whether we had money or not. He got a great job. He loves his job. It's a 3D job. So he's more grounded than me. He's more, but he has to be for me to stay home and not work. So I don't work right now. I'm looking possibly to do another radio show. Who knows? or video when Soulogy comes on. I'd like to do some videos with that. Just little videos when I get the, and I do light language healing when people come to my house, family or friends. I don't charge or anything like that yet.
So you said that he was your biggest gift, I guess. A couple of things. Okay, the mirror, yeah, obviously in these relationships, that's one of the, not always warm and fuzzy things, but big blessing. But so one, did you find as you expanded yourself, did it have an effect from the human perspective? Did it have an effect on him?
Oh yeah.
On his own expansion?
Yeah, because he started to, he went to a lot of things because he just like the UFO stuff. He would go with me, but this he actually believes, because he told me a few months ago that he actually believes in everything I've been talking about. He's not just supporting me; he actually believes it. He's doing the inner work at night. He does his own meditation. He still chants. He still does the Buddhist. But it was funny the other day, he says, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I don't know why. And I'm thinking, because I raised my life condition today, now you're happy. Because we're very connected. And he does feel dizzy. He is an empath, not as heavy as I am, but just to, pre-emphasize that with a lot of people that may have been out there and then disappeared. My radio show was taken, it ended because the station got, KGRA got bought out, and they wanted us to interview the old researchers from all the UFO cases instead of doing the experiences and Ascension. So we decided to just stop. And Prime Creator, I got this message. There were a couple other people that lost their Ascension shows that I needed to, I was in protection mode and I had to do this shadow work, and my gifts had to manifest, and I need to be in home mode. So I've been doing that for 3 years. This is the show. I'm actually coming out. And, I don't put a lot on Facebook about a lot of this because I have family and I have friends from high school and that kind of stuff. So it's out. Everybody knows.
Well, you've opened up the gate now. What would you like to say in this coming out party, in this coming out episode? What would you like to say to the world, to your brothers and sisters, and even to those who were the apparent obstacle? We've all had that.
Well, everything in your life, I was an empath my whole life. And I'm saying this to empaths. When I was a little girl, I was slim, good looking kid, nothing. But in elementary school, I was teased a lot wherever I went. And I couldn't understand it. And I always felt more adult than the other kids. And I never felt I belonged here. And I was very emotional, yet my mother was very, we were like a Mad Men family. If you ever watched that show, Mad Men from the 60s, we had the maid, we had a family business. My mother was always dressed perfect with the makeup. She wasn't a hugger. So I chose to come into that family, and it was tough. And my dad died when I was 11. So, learning to love yourself when, empaths have a very special need. And we come in here and we deal with what we need to deal with. So we can learn I am so incredibly strong because of all the experiences I went through. Now the teasing stopped as I got older, but I just couldn't understand. And they would say stuff to me like, I don't know what it is, but you're weird. I don't know what it is. You're different.
Welcome to the club.
So
how do you learn to love yourself?
Well, I have a great exercise that Prime Creator showed me, and it really works because I love myself a lot more than I did 7 years ago when this started. Well, what I do is I envision unconditional love as pink, and I envision my heart chakra. It starts there, this pink mist, and I imagine all my cells and all my organs being filled, and then all the way out to my auric field surrounded by pink love. And I imagine my little child sitting on my lap, me as a little child, and I say, I love you, Julia. I love you, Julia. I love you, Julia. I hear you. I see you. And now I see myself as a teenager and also as myself now. And then I go, I am Julia and I'm safe. I say the name and the day. I'm Julia, and I imagine wings coming out and holding me.
Mm.
And you just sit in that for a couple of minutes. And you can also bring your higher self in. You know, I want to merge with my higher self and feel what it feels like, because we are light beings. That's who we really are. And we purposely came into this program to go through what we went through so we don't have to do it anymore. We can ascend.
Right on. Right on. We had Marianne's ask, and I was going to ask anyway. Did you want to do some light language?
Yes, I love Marianne.
Mm.
Yes, I do. What I like to do is bring in the codes for everybody's gifts to manifest so they could be of service to others, and the abundance that comes from being connected. Okay. Kuyana shishi kai sai sana makai kasona makina mashina makai. Ukuna mashishi shike so sona makai kana mashishi kuyana makai. Ukuna masasa kasho shona maki. Usona makia namashishi shakaya so sona makai. Ukana shila kasana makai. O makana na shila kosana makai okono makai. Manashila sona makaila, wanakai o sona mashila, inene kai onakayo, wasana maria, ikina mashi shishiko so sona makai kaya makayan, okosona mashi shishi kuno makai asana mashi.
Thank you.
That was a new one. I never heard that one before.
I've never heard that one before either, but you went right into it. That was some pretty good. Yeah,
They come in, there's no set ones.
So you connected just boom, you were right there. I mean, are you able to go into that just that easy every time?
Yeah, that felt Lemurian. Normally, a lot of my really psychic friends, when I first started speaking, they said they felt Lyrian, and they saw me as a lion or a pussycat, and my face. And but different ones come in at different times. Sometimes I have like a funny one that's reminds me of a blue avian, but they're usually Lyran or Lemurian, and but usually I do light language healing. I've had some interesting things happen. Sporadic. That's the best healings, when they're sporadic.
Yeah.
You're not really
spontaneous.
You're not doing it.
Spontaneous, intuitive, creative. Yeah. This is our byline. Yeah, absolutely. That energy's, well, you can't replace it. You can't surpass it. That energy's, you can prepare, do your hair, put on makeup, metaphorically speaking, you can spit and polish everything. You can do something 100 times. It will never be as good as that spontaneous first time, one take. There's no doubt about it. And I think that's the energy that we're actually getting accustomed to now with this telepathy, because there is no rehearsal, with telepathy. Everything is right in front of your face. Now, do you feel like that the light language are part of your composition, or is it something external?
I think we all have light language within us. It's within us. We're activating it. Just like all our gifts are there. Everything's there. There's no junk DNA. All our gifts are there. We're just activating it. And it happens with the shadow work, forgiveness, which is very powerful. Forgiving yourself and others. Breaking 7 generations or more of our family lineages, the karma.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. I even went into my, I was born Jewish, so I went into that whole Holocaust thing breaking that lineage. That was intense because I had a third eye vision of Hitler, and I had to forgive him. And I cried and I fought and I said, I can't do that. He killed half of my family. And I saw the torture that he's going to go through and that he chose to do that. This is very controversial, and I'm sorry if it offends people.
No, it's not controversial at all. I mean,
when you face your shadow, sometimes like the cabal and,
I mean, I agree with you. I fully embrace the Hitler in me.
The Archon forces that have, the pedophiles and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theory person. Prime Creator told me to work on creating heaven on earth and not work, focusing on that. But one thing I know is that I don't hate them because they chose that job in the game. And that's what I want people to know. You bring to you what you focus on. So, there's a lot of YouTube conspiracy stuff out there, and most of it's incorrect. There may be some truth to it. Yeah, there's pedophile stuff. There's, the 1% buys everything. And I know it's going to change. I don't know how it's going to change.
It's going to change. It's going to change when we change. It's going to change.
Right. I mean,
we do exactly what you're saying.
People talk about Nasera, the solar flash, all that stuff. I know it's a gradual process. There will be something big happening, but it's
is it a gradual process? Is it a gradual process, or is it our own limited mindset and thought processes that are making it a gradual process?
I think each one's own reality manifests how you want it to manifest. So I know that, we don't just grow up from a baby to a human being. We have stages. So the Ascension is the same way. If we had a solar flash right away, we'd explode. We have to get ready. We want everybody to go.
I'm just wondering which prediction is going to be correct. There's been about 1,700 that have been incorrect.
Well,
and I just wonder too. I also wonder if the solar flash. No, I get that. And everybody's opinion and everybody's perspective is relevant. And I agree with you. At the end of the day, everybody has their own experience, period. But there is some type of collective thing happening.
Oh, there's definitely
some type of collective, co-creative, collaborative, soul enhancing, expanding experience that's occurring in this realm. At what looks like a very dense, hardcore, ugly, horrific, how can this be allowed to happen kind of atmosphere is actually the greatest opportunity for this universe to ever expand.
This is how I look at it. We all want heaven on earth. We all want every single person to ascend. That has to come in stages. So everybody's ready. So when there is I believe there is something coming, but it's going to be also continued. It's the journey. The fun and the excitement is in the journey. There's no getting there. We're going to keep ascending 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th dimension. We're going to keep going, but we have some time for that. But we are going to see financial things change where everybody benefits. No one has to worry about, money or where to live. I believe that's coming because that's what I'm creating. I'm creating a stress-free, tax-free world where we live in community in beautiful homes, everybody. And we all are useful and we all do what we love, and all the free technologies out. That's what I'm bringing.
Done. Right on. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's like you said, with the shadow work, it's an inside job. And, I think our primary focus point is ourselves. To thine own self be true, hold ourselves accountable, hold ourselves responsible as co-creators and collaborators, as the gods and goddesses that we are, the pieces of the source that we are. It's you handle your shift, I'll handle my shift, and we'll meet in the middle.
Exactly.
That's really, and I thought this is where you were going to go with the light worker thing earlier, is because if you take 100 light workers and put them against the wall over here, and you put 100 born again Christians over here, you're going to have the same percentage of everything in both groups. You're going to have 10% are bullshit artists, 10% are are pure empaths. It doesn't matter what their source, the name they give source, prime creator, God, goddess, whatever, universe. But I think at the end of the day, it's when we really start to turn inside and focus on ourselves and take full responsibility for the creation like you're doing. When you're saying, I'm creating this, this is the gold. You know, you're not saying, hey, you need to do this. And you're not saying, hey, those people aren't awake. You know, I still think we're all beating at the same vibration. It just doesn't look that way. And the judgments that we make are the core of our separation.
Well, we also have to realize the born again Christian movement, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. It's all part of the path. Everybody chooses their path. Yeah. And we ascend at different times, but we all get there eventually.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. Everybody's going home. We don't have to save anybody. It's against universal law for anyone to save us. So therefore, who the hell do we think we are that we can go and save somebody, you know, or protect somebody? You know, this is part of this sovereignty. Sovereignty is allowing people to heal for themselves, to learn for themselves, and to grow for themselves. You know, everyone should be afforded the same opportunity, no interference. Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting you in Florida. You're gonna
go. You know, we have to do a
what day are you gonna get there?
I'm there Thursday to Tuesday.
Okay,
and
so I'm gonna take the bull by the horns. I've already told the people over there, but I'm gonna put something together for Thursday night for a Soulogy. No cost performance, presentation, party, the 3 Ps. So, you know, a little bit of music, a little bit of commentary, maybe we do a show like this and just do it on stage. I don't know. We're going to do something.
Well, you know what I was thinking? I got this thing. There's pink crystal sand that is very powerful there.
Yeah.
So I thought we could do a show maybe where we could do a meditation and bring in the Galactics. And maybe
we could do that.
We may not be live. It could be like recorded.
I'm always open, and I prefer live. Live is better.
Oh, okay.
Live keeps everybody on their toes, and it retains the frequency. Well, it retains the frequency of spontaneity.
Oh, and I have to tell you before we go, you know, I used to clean my house and exercise while I was listening to the news. Now I clean my house and exercise, and I listen to your show all day. You're a life.
That's beautiful.
Raises vibration.
Yeah, well, we're all in this together, and this is it's a platform for the 99.99%, and everybody deserves a voice, and we're going to do everything we can to create channels of transmission for everyone to be able to have the opportunity to do that. So I would ask everybody, I've been asking for the last couple of days, you know I've been talking about it since January 2nd of last year, but things are aligning. Please send us your positive, good energy, great energy, pure energy to expanding this platform and creating the most incredible universal cast transmission that the universe has ever seen, that we're all part of. It's not about Todd. It's not about Morgan. It's not about Julia. It's about every single person that comes on and every person that participates, even by watching. You know, so I just want to thank everybody for that ahead of time. And I want to thank you for coming on. I look forward to meeting you and your husband. And I will reach out to you. I've already reached out to a couple of people about this Thursday night thing. And maybe you can help me collaborate with that, collaborate with me on that and help me get it organized.
Sounds perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for opening.
For having me on.
Yeah. And thank you for coming out on this program. You know, this is very important. It's very, very important. And I look for many more beloved sisters in particular to step up because so many of them have been hiding for so long. Mm-hmm. But it takes a lot of guts. And I'm just going to say to any of your family that's watching, this is what it's all about. Having the bravery to be yourself, to thine own self be true. Thank you so much, Julia, for honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us.
Bye.
You
Bye,
take
everyone.
care. You take care. And I look forward to seeing you. It's in a month. 30 days.
Can't wait.
Right on. See you later. Bye-bye.